We're in Moscow tonight. We're here to interview the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin. There are risks to conducting an interview like this, obviously. So we thought about it carefully over many months. Americans have a right to know all they can about a war they're implicated in. And we have the right to tell them about it because we are Americans too. Freedom of speech is our birthright. We were born with the right to say what we believe. That right cannot be taken away no matter who is in the White House. But you have no reason to be afraid of it. We are not encouraging you to agree with what Putin may say in this interview, but we are urging you to watch it. And then, like a free citizen and not a slave, you can decide for yourself.
What's up, guys? Boy, Benny. Moments ago, history was made as the most powerful journalist in the history of the world, Tucker Carlson, dropped his 2-hour-long interview with Vladimir Putin. We encourage you to go watch the entire thing on his X account or on Tucker Carlson's website, tuckercarlson.com. It is posted in both spots, and ladies and gentlemen, you will watch it and you will find chilling answers to some really interesting, utterly fascinating questions. From a chilly rooftop on a Russian building overlooking the snow-fallen Kremlin, Tucker Carlson, with snow in his hair, welcomes Vladimir Putin to a 2-hour interview where he asked about imprisoned American journalists, the beginning of the war in Ukraine, the history of Russia itself with Ukraine in that region. But we found, most importantly, some of the intersections of American policies and politics with the Russian state. Ladies and gentlemen, the question that certainly plucked our interest the very most was, did the CIA or American intelligence, Western forces, blow up the Nordstream pipeline? You'll remember this is the Russian pipeline that brought Russian natural gas into Europe. It was blown up, and many have suspected, and many journalists have evidence, that our CIA was involved. This, of course, would be a massive ecological and economic crime, the largest ever. What does Vladimir Putin think about this? Well, now we have our answer. Who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline?
Who blew up Nord Stream?
You for sure.
I was busy that day. Nate, do you have I did not blow up Nord Stream. Thank you, though.
У вас лично, может быть, есть алиби. У вас лично.
You personally may have an alibi, but the CIA has no such alibi.
Do you have evidence that NATO or the CIA did it?
Знаете,
You know, I won't get into details, but people always say in such cases, look for someone who is interested. But in this case, we should not only look for someone who is interested, but also for someone who has capabilities. Because there may be many people interested, but not all of them are capable of sinking to the bottom of the Baltic Sea and carrying out this explosion. These two components should be connected. Who is interested and who is capable of doing it?
But I'm confused. I mean, that's the biggest act of industrial terrorism ever, and it's the largest emission of CO2 in history. Okay, so if you had evidence, and presumably given your security services, your intel services, you would, that NATO, the US, CIA, the West, did this, why wouldn't you present it and win a propaganda victory?
In the war of propaganda, it is very difficult to defeat the United States, because the United States controls all the world's media and many European media. The ultimate beneficiary of the biggest European media are American financial institutions. Don't you know that? So it is possible to get involved in this work, but it is cost prohibitive, so to speak. We can simply shine the spotlight on our sources of information, and we will not achieve results. It is clear to the whole world what happened, and even American analysts talk about it directly.
I was like taken aback by the beginning of that clip with him saying, you blew it up. It's like, guy actually has like a sense of humor. There's nothing funny, however, about what's going on in Ukraine, obviously. Bad news for everyone. Nobody wants what's going on in Ukraine to happen. Nobody wants war. I don't want war. Could Bill Clinton have prevented war? Could Bill Clinton have stopped all of this from happening by welcoming Russia into NATO? Vladimir Putin tells Tucker Carlson that he asked President Clinton about joining NATO, but that Clinton shut it all down. Watch.
At a meeting here in the Kremlin with the outgoing President Bill Clinton, right here in the next room, I said to him, I asked him, Bill, do you think if Russia asked to join NATO, do you think it would happen? Suddenly he said, you know, it's interesting. I think so. But in the evening, when we met for dinner, he said, you know, I've talked to my team. No, it's not possible now. You can ask him. I think he will watch our interview. He'll confirm it. I wouldn't have said anything like that if it hadn't happened. Okay.
Were you
It's
sincere?
impossible now.
Would you have joined NATO?
Look, I asked the question, is it possible or not? And the answer I got was no. If I was insincere in my desire to find out what the leadership position was,
But if he had said yes, would you have joined NATO?
if he had said yes, the process of rapprochement would have commenced, and eventually it might have happened if we had seen some sincere wish on the other side of our partners.
Ladies and gentlemen, the final fascinating question that we will cover here is the question of Elon Musk, AI, and the future of humanity. Tucker Carlson asked, and Vladimir Putin says, there's no stopping Elon Musk. He will do as he sees fit. Oh my God. Is Vladimir Putin scared of Elon Musk? Check this out.
So when does the AI empire start, do you think?
You're asking increasingly more complicated questions. To answer them, you need to be an expert in big numbers, big data, and AI. Mankind is currently facing many threats. Due to the genetic researches, it is now possible to create a superhuman, a specialized human being, a genetically engineered athlete, scientist, military man. There are reports that Elon Musk had already had a chip implanted in the human brain in the USA.
What do you think of that?
Well, I think there's no stopping Elon Musk. He will do as he sees fit. Nevertheless, you need to find some common ground with him, search for ways to persuade him. I think he's a smart person, I truly believe he is. So you need to reach an agreement with him because this process needs to be formalized and subjected to certain rules. Humanity has to consider what is going to happen due to the newest development in genetics or in AI. One can make an approximate prediction of what will happen. Once mankind felt an existential threat coming from nuclear weapons, all nuclear nations began to come to terms with one another since they realized the negligent use of nuclear weaponry could drive humanity to extinction. It is impossible to stop research in genetics or AI today, just as it was impossible to stop the use of gunpowder back in the day. But as soon as we realize that the threat comes from unbridled and uncontrolled development of AI, or genetics, or any other field, the time will come to reach an international agreement on how to regulate these things.
Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot encourage you in stronger terms to sign up for Tucker Carlson's network, to become a member there, to support this journalism. This is obviously not cheap to do this. And Tucker Carlson took no money from no governments or no organizations to pull this off. They did it themselves. Tucker Carlson has a full transcript of the interview and all of the subsections here. You can subscribe and you can find out about the imprisoned American journalists, How powerful is Zelensky? Reestablishing of communications with the US? What triggered the conflict in Ukraine? And a full history of Russia and Ukraine back to the 8th century that Vladimir Putin gives. Fascinating all, ladies and gentlemen. Support independent journalists, support Tucker Carlson, and watch the full interview. You can handle the truth. You are wise enough to decide for yourself, ladies and gentlemen, when you are being lied to. That is a truth that we hold dear. That is knowledge, that is cornerstone to this company, the foundation here. And we say, Godspeed, Tucker Carlson. God bless Tucker Carlson. The truth shall set you free. But we can handle the truth. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See you.